The journey continues on, as at this point we're pretty much halfway through all of the current released episodes, and pretty much 3/4 away from covering part 1 of the main story. With that said, let's go ahead and go over what our characters are going through in episode 7. Immediately as the episode starts, we begin with Scummer attacking Lumopolis, as the Black Colossus attempts to force its way through the shield protecting the city. Navigator and the group is following behind, but as they get closer, the sky is darkening, and knowing it's left unprotected, Carlene tells the group to prioritize and help protecting Lower Lumopolis, as she's aware that that part of the city doesn't have a shield to protect itself, unlike Uptown. The plan is for them to enter Lumopolis from outside while Siraj continues floating above the city. In the meanwhile, the scene changes to Uptown. Swartz currently giving command and assessing the situation. He ordered the Guardians to continue to leave things as is, having Uptown protected while Lower Lumopolis will defend itself. Basically doing this to keep the nobles in check and not make things worse as it already is. Moving to Lower Lumopolis and where the group arrives, they run into Vivian and Sirona telling them how chaotic things have gotten. Right now, soldiers from the First Legion are helping the citizens in dealing with the Eclipsites, and that all the Guardians were ordered to focus on protecting Uptown. Sirona began to criticize Carlene about how Lumopolis does things, and the two were beginning to go back and forth. After Navigator yelled at them and whatnot, they started to calm down a little and head to an area where residents haven't evacuated yet. The scene changes to inside the Black Colossus, where the mysterious one was telling Scummer to be patient, even telling her that Navigator and Siraj was nearby. Scummer, as always, wasn't hiding how annoyed she was with her, wanting to eagerly destroy everything already. Meanwhile, Navigator's group reached to where the affected area is. While Sirona went off to help the citizens, the others will focus on taking out the invading Eclipsites, as once again Navigator shows command and leadership in the fight. Once the fight was over and they cleared the area, Navigator tried to communicate with Siraj, but the seal was making it hard to have a steady connection. That's when Carlene gets a message that Eclipsites have invaded Uptown. Figuring that the attack in Lower Lumopolis was a distraction, they hurried on to Uptown in order to help fight off the enemy. When they get there, a high-level Eclipsite, Mara Sol, was on a rampage. However, as it was only outside the borders of Uptown, the Guardians, due to the orders of Swartz, hasn't fully engaged it, as the orders were to not leave Uptown at all, really being another showcase of the misplaced priorities Lumopolis has. Continues to show why Sirona has just hatred for them. With no other choice, Navigator's group along with Illumina's forces engaged in battle with it. Thanks to Sirona and Vivian being so strong, they was able to take it out with ease, getting rid of the threat in front of them, but the Black Colossus was still attacking the shield. With Carlene confident it'll never fall, Sirona decided to go ahead and defend Lower Lumopolis from the east. After she left, the group discussed about what Scummer is doing, whether she's just underestimating how strong the shield is, or, by the words of Vivian, if she's only buying time to accomplish another goal. That's when suddenly a sharp pain courses through Navigator's head. Siraj was apparently sending a signal for help. Turns out while everyone was distracted by the Eclipsites invasion, Scummer had turned her target over to Siraj. Panicking, Navigator quickly wanted to go to where he was, and before Carlene could offer any help, the Lumopolis soldier stated her father gave strict orders for her to return to Uptown, otherwise he would deploy the 4 angels. Then the scene changes, as the mysterious one and Scummer were on board Siraj, and was about to destroy him. Over and over again, Navigator desperately tried to connect with Siraj, but to no avail could he get through. The shield continues to make things difficult as he and the others try to figure out how they can quickly get an airship. That's when suddenly they see a ship swerving in the air, eventually heading their way. Turns out the one piloting it was none other than Carlene, forcefully taking over a ship to help. With no time to waste, everyone hopped on board and started making their way to Siraj. Having making it to Siraj and getting on board, the group comes face to face with hordes of Eclipsites. As they had to take a breath, Carlene made it known that she's willing to stick with them to the end, wanting to help in stopping the mastermind for good, even if it causes her to get into some political trouble. Navigator, getting a sense of everything, points out that Scummer is on the bridge. While they was heading to where Scummer was, Siraj has sent Navigator one final message before his conscience disappeared, to turn back and run away, as Scummer is more dangerous opponent than they could imagine. As they stand outside the door to the bridge, Navigator felt a sharp pain in his head. He could tell that something was wrong. Also that he and the others could feel a very strong presence on the other side, knowing it had to be no one else but Scummer. Due to his psychic powers, Navigator ended up making connection to Scummer, who continued to talk down to him, before eventually revealing that she destroyed Siraj's echo template, meaning that she destroyed his conscience and killed him. The scene changes over time. Raphael updating Swartz about Carlene's whereabouts. Getting the sense of what's happening, Swartz continued to give out orders to the Guardians, making preparations to keep the shield going and to be ready to send troops to assist Umberton. While saying he wasn't going to send troops to help Carlene, he gave a hidden clue to Raphael telling her to go assist her. After taking a while to figure out, Raphael went to get another airship and go to where the others are. Going back to the bridge on Siraj, the group have went and confronted Scummer. Talking down upon them, she mentioned that her Black Colossus is currently still charging its power, getting more powerful by the second, and soon will have enough to destroy the shield. As the mysterious one came out to hurry her up, Vivian, staring her down, looks more serious than she has done before, as the mysterious one felt very familiar to her. Scummer then interrupted and offered Navigator to join her, wanting him to also give in to taking in the power of Eclipse, just like she did. But Navigator wasn't having that, going so far to practically call her pathetic to even think she can convince him that power is all that matters. After such a speech, Scummer laughed in anger, gathering Darkflow as she was getting ready to fight. With their fates being intertwined, the two sides become engaged in a fierce battle, giving it everything they got. However, once again, Scummer was beginning to overwhelm the group. But while they was fighting, the mysterious one informed Scummer that the Black Colossus has finally been fully charged. Vivian, who couldn't get her out of her mind, asked for the identity of the mysterious one, even so far as demanding it when she first refused. Vivian then pointed out that she could tell the mysterious one was not only an Orion, but also used to be part of Illumina. That's when she took off her hood, revealing who she was and the scars of Darkflow that covered her. Her name was Forsaken. Now that we finally revealed her name, let me take the time to tell you who exactly Forsaken is. Her real name was Denier. Already said by Vice, she used to be a former researcher of Illumina and also supposedly the younger sister of Illumina's Grand Marshal, Reinhardt. She grew up in an Illumina hospital and eventually joined the Federation. Not only was she a highly achieved soldier, she was also a candidate to be the next Grand Marshal, along with Reinhardt and another person. When it came to deciding the next Grand Marshal, she along with the other candidates was given a mission. Go to Undercity 80 and retrieve relics, but it turned out to be a more dangerous mission than it was led to believe. That resulted in the death of many soldiers. While Reinhardt became the Grand Marshal, she went on to become a researcher. That didn't turn for the better, as Denier started to do more dangerous research, taking in people and using them as test subjects, even moving them to another isolated Undercity. One day, however, something went wrong with the research she was doing, as a huge explosion occurred. It was said that Denier died in that explosion, but now turns out that wasn't the truth, as she was alive and up to no good, taking up the name Forsaken while taking in Eclipse Sight power. After Forsaken told Scummer the status of the Black Colossus, the two of them was about to head off to attack Lumopolis again. But before Carlene could even finish what she was saying, in comes Avidus itself, summoned by Scummer, overwhelming the group with its overpowering presence, so overwhelming that they could barely move from where they were standing. With no other option, Vivian decided to use all her strength to fight off the Black Colossus, in order to give the others time to retreat and jump off Shiraz, coming to an end of episode 7. A very intense episode. The situation has gotten so much worse and our cast is put in a tough spot. This was probably the episode that made me solidify Carlene being one of my favorite characters in the game, even though the Lumopolis politics didn't really make the city in a better light. But in all seriousness, the growth of Navigator was really showing out here. With the way he told Scummer off, he has been going through a spectacular growth so far, and it makes me so glad he feels like an actual character instead of another insert. Halfway through the current release episodes, and the next episode shall cover the conclusion of this invasion on the floating city. So stay tuned for when I cover episode 8. May the truth bless you.